What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Cody Campbell with High Ground Gaming, and today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the Kinesis Gaming TKO mechanical keyboard. I'm going to start by walking you through the specs, then I'll open it up, let you take a look at the product. After that, I'll go to the review portion where I'll tell you my thoughts on it after having used it, and then we'll go to High Ground Gaming's final score. Stick around. Kinesis Gaming TKO is a 60% form factor keyboard. That means there's not going to be any arrow keys, there's not going to be a number pad, there's not going to be any page up, page down, home, none of that. It's completely minimized to the smallest form factor possible. It uses a wired USB connection, no wireless mode. Now, one of the things that sets the TKO apart from other 60% keyboards is it has something called ergonomic tenting. You can sort of stand it up at a slant, so that way your hand has the thumb side up. That prevents some of the pains that you might get in your wrists that lead to things like carpal tunnel. This is kind of a big deal because when you're gaming for long sessions, having your wrist like this creates sort of a pinched pathway in your wrist, which can lead to a lot of pain. Most keyboards that have ergonomic tenting are split keyboards so that they tent to either side like this. This is a singular keyboard, which means you're only going to use this while gaming because you do not want to have it tented with two hands on the keyboard. This is really for when you have one hand on the keyboard and one hand on the mouse. If you're interested in one that has tenting and is for both hands, then I would look into split keyboards, not the TKO. It has a modular spacebar, which means the spacebar is split up into 3 different buttons, which I think is a little weird, but I'll have to use it and find out whether or not I hate it, because I feel like I'm gonna hate it, but who knows, maybe I'll love it. It uses Kailh box switches. I think I'm pronouncing that right, Kailh. They come in brown, which is tactile, red, which is linear, and white, which is clicky. It has double shot PBT keycaps, dual zone RGB lighting, and it uses the SmartSet App 3.0 software. That's gonna do it for the specs though. Let's open it up. Oh, comes with a case. Very nice. I was wondering why a 60% keyboard had such a big box. So it looks like you've got 4 backup switches in here. Looks like they sent us some browns. It's interesting. I was under the impression that they sent us a keyboard with 4 white switches, but we'll see. This case's got like a nice hard shell to it. Feels pretty quality. Okay, so we've got a USB Type-C to USB Type-A cable. That's good. See if there's anything else in this case. No, just it's got kind of a rigid inlay in there though. It's very secure. It's got a little extra space. It's a nice case. Not bad, TKO. Okay, so they sent us some red switches as well. I guess they just wanted to give us sort of a sampling so that we could look at them all. We've got a switch, or a keycap remover. And then they sent us a replacement space bar. Let's see, underneath we have a quick start guide. All right, so you have the reverse one, so you can use them just to tilt it like this. Yeah, see, this is what I mean about that 3-key space bar. I assume they all just do the same thing, but I imagine what I'm gonna end up doing is hitting it right here a lot and pushing 2 spaces. So we'll see how it goes. Yep. Those are definitely clicky switches. Here, let's pop one off and take a look at it. Yeah, see, we've got the white ones there. And then we've got the switch remover as well, in case you want to swap any of them out. The clickiness is nice. I'm not usually a fan of clicky switches, but they are not super loud. A nice snap without sounding too clickety-clackety. Overall, just the feel of the keycaps and the general feel of depressing each switch feels good. This is a good feeling keyboard. It feels quality. This is more what they were talking about when they were talking about making it ergonomic. you can shift it like this, so when you put your fingers on the WSD keys, your wrist is more tilted this way. This is comfortable. This is quite comfortable for gaming. I could see myself wanting to have a mouse here and have this hand tilted like this. And for gaming, I actually do see the appeal of the spacebar being broken up like this, because you're not pushing down the whole big giant one. I also like that they give you the option to swap it out for a normal spacebar if you decide you don't really like this configuration. That's cool. It might not end up being my favorite thing in the world, but the fact that they made it optional makes it a feature. It's got the USB Type-C port on the left side there, and each of these has 2 settings. So you could even set it up so that it's higher on this side, just barely. I also like these grips that they have on here, the way they have these lined up. It's very stable. It is not wanting to move at all, and it does have a little bit of weight to it. It's not the heaviest keyboard in the world, but it does feel like it's made of quality components. It doesn't feel light or cheap. Also, it has this really nice black brushed metal that just looks very clean. I'm a big fan of it. The only branding is sort of on the back there, which I like. It's very subtle, it's out of the way. You're never actually gonna see it because it's behind the keys. The function keys are printed on the face of each key. You can sort of see that here. It looks like everything else is RGB. I like when they put the function keys on the face instead of on the switch. I think it looks nicer and your fingers are less likely to wear away that paint. All right, I'm gonna go ahead, plug it in, use it for a little bit, and we'll be right back with the review section. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks. I've had some time to play around with the Kinesis TKO keyboard, and I've got some stuff to say about it. But before I do that, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. All right, let's dive right in by starting about the build quality and the design of this thing. It is a really nice keyboard. I like just about everything about the way this is built. It's got some good weight to it. The faceplate has that metallic finish on it, which looks really nice. The keycaps both look really nice and feel really nice. Plus they're made of that double shot PBT, so you know they're gonna last a little bit longer. They're not gonna develop that shine quite so quickly. The ergonomic feet are great. Using the back ones is really nice. You've got the 2 different sizes, so you can set it at a basic incline for general productivity and typing and all that sort of thing. But you can use the right 2 to give it that tilt so that you can use it more comfortably for gaming so that your wrist isn't perfectly straight. I'll talk about that more in a bit, but short story, I like it. One thing that I don't know if I mentioned earlier is that it has this beautiful RGB strip that runs along the length of it all the way around, and it sort of casts this light down onto your desk, which looks pretty cool. Also, the cable is removable, and it's made of this pretty nice braided material. It's 6 feet long, which isn't the longest cable in the world, but it's a pretty good length. It's probably gonna be fine for most people's uses, and getting a USB Type-C cable isn't that big of a deal if you need to replace it with something longer. But the true test of any mechanical keyboard is the mechanical switches. This came with the Kailh, I think it's pronounced Kailh, box white switches, which are the clickies. You can also get them in linear reds or tactile browns. They have a nice click to them. It's audible, but not too loud. It's very satisfying to press. But most importantly, they have a really good tension balance. They feel good to type on and to depress while gaming. This was my first time playing around with Kailh switches. I've heard of them before. I know that they're popular, but I had never actually used them before. I have to say I like them every bit as much as Cherry MX or any of the other big name brands. But that brings us to the one real downside of this keyboard, which is the SmartSet app. I played around with it a lot, and I have to say I really did not like this control app. First of all, it requires you to enter in a series of commands in order to use it on the actual physical keyboard. Once you've downloaded the app, you have to ready the keyboard to be able to interface with the app by pressing certain commands, which the software prompts you to do. And then you can connect the keyboard to it, which makes the keyboard into a drive, which actually shows up on your computer. Like if you open your files folder, you'll see the keyboard as one of the hard drives on there, which is strange. I've never seen a keyboard do that before. Once you're inside, it's just kind of underwhelming. There's some key mapping software in there, and then there's some RGB software, and that's it. There's no special game modes or anything like that. I believe there are 9 profiles, but honestly, I probably wouldn't use those because I would want to interface with this software as little as possible. There are 14 RGB effects for the keys and 10 RGB effects for the strip lighting. The wave effect, which is what I have it set to right now, looks nice. It looks very pretty. It looks nice on the strip on the side. It looks nice on the keys, and overall it just gives off a real premium vibe. Most of the other effects didn't look great. They looked either old and cheap or just, I don't know, kind of tacky, unbalanced. I just didn't really like the way they looked. You can alter speed and some directionality, but other than that, they're not super modifiable either. The other issue that I had with the software is that it is really, really buggy. When you actually want to make a change, you have to click a save icon, which allows you to save whatever you've done to the actual keyboard. Then you enter in another command on the keyboard in order to make that actually implement. The problem was I had an issue where I kept hitting the save button, and for whatever reason, when I hit the save button, it would eject the keyboard from the program. I'd have to unplug it, plug it back in, disconnect the software, reconnect the software, redo whatever I was trying to do to the RGB, then hit the save button again, hope it would work, and if it did work, enter the command to get it to activate. It was a serious pain. And on top of all of that, the next day when I came back to play with it again, the software had somehow uninstalled itself from my computer and I had to reinstall it. I thought that was a fluke, but the next day, same thing. The software keeps uninstalling itself from my computer, so I have to install the software every time I want to use it. I don't really know exactly what's happening there. I don't know if that's some fluke going on with my computer or if this is just really bad software, but it was a pain to use. Now, this keyboard is built so well and so nicely that I feel like a lot of people could sort of suffer through using the software to get the settings the way they like the first time and then leave it alone, uninstall the software and never touch it again. But if you're the kind of person who really likes to fiddle with your settings, you're constantly changing your RPG scheme, and you want a keyboard that it's easy to do that with, I could not recommend this keyboard specifically because of the Smart App software. Gaming performance, on the other hand, was magnificent. Everything about the build quality, the ergonomics, the nice switches, it all came back tenfold. I played some Halo Infinite because it's brand new right now and I'm having a blast with it. And I have to say, I had a great time playing it on this keyboard. It was comfortable, it was responsive, and I have to say, I actually really like the way the keys are spaced on this. I've noticed that on a lot of 60% keyboards, they have a tendency to sort of tighten up the keys to make the small form factor really as compact as possible. This one feels comfortable. I could be typing on a TKL or a full-size keyboard, but I still want all the letters to occupy the same amount of space. And that's what I feel like when I type on this. So, now that I've talked about all that, let's get down to the verdict. So the Kinesis TKO keyboard MSRP's at $115. That is definitely on the expensive side. A lot of other 60% keyboards, even really nice high-end ones, are going for around $80 right now. So $115 is pretty pricey. That said, this is the best build quality of any 60% keyboard I've used so far, and it's also the only 60% keyboard that I've found that offers any kind of tilted ergonomics or tenting for the gamers that might have any sort of hand or wrist pain. So there are a couple of really good reasons to buy this even at that price. So we went ahead and we gave this a 4.4 out of 5. Had to take a little bit off for the software, had to take a little bit off for the price, but all in all, in terms of build quality and comfort and ease of use, this thing's pretty fantastic. Why don't you go ahead and leave a comment down below and let us know what you think. Do you think bad software is a deal breaker and you're not interested in this no matter how well it's made? Or do you think a really solid keyboard that you can just sort of set and forget is worth the extra money? While you're at it, please hit that like and subscribe button. We've got lots of great new content coming soon, and I'd hate for you to miss any of it. Okay, everybody. Thanks for watching. Happy gaming.